All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash, giving double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. Coming back with another lesson, because I've been seeing brothers, going into, the technocracy that's being established, so just to go into it, because eventually it's going to lead to the MOTB. So, I went to chat and typed in what is a technocracy and how implantable devices apply, because we know eventually, with this technological system that's being set up, by Esau Edom, it's going to eventually lead to the MOTB. That's the next major prophecy to take place, man. Whether you people believe it or not, cash is going to be obsolete. And, total control is going to be applied, based off, medical needs. They're gonna come with it like that. We could put this implant in your body. It'll make your life so much easier. We can look at your medical records, just scan it, paying for things, but we'll get into it because Chat GPT goes into it, which we already knew this, but, we just do this to confirm things, because there's still a lot of unbelievers out here, man, and this is what this government is setting up, first and foremost, the wicked elites, man. But it's a technocracy is a system of governance where experts, especially scientists, engineers, and technical specialists, make decisions based on data, efficiency, and scientific reasoning rather than politics, tradition, and popular opinion. So, your opinion is not going to matter. It don't matter. You're not going to be able to vote, decisions are going to be made for you based off science, total control. It says what that really means in a technocracy, policies are guided by data, algorithms, and measurable outcomes. That's why you see all these data centers being put up around the world, and, kind of like being in close to that industry, man. It's so many data centers going up in so many different locations, and we're here in Georgia, man. I think this is like one of the most popular places right now to put data centers, and it's going to be a centralized system to where you're connected all the way around the world. All the data centers are going to be connected. So you're not going to be able to go to Africa. You're not going to be able to escape. You're not going to be able to go to the Caribbean. You're not going to be able to go to Mexico, wherever, without them knowing where you are, because as soon as you buy something all around the world, they're going to know where you are if they're looking for you. So it says leaders are chosen from technical expertise, not elections or popularity. So all the little voting system is going to be out the window, man. So your democracy is gone. What you think, the freedoms that you think you have are being slowly taken away from you, But as the book of Revelation 12:12 goes into, this devil knows he has a short time, so he's going to come down with great wrath. So he's moving fast, man. All of a sudden you're going to look up, cash is going to be gone, and they're going to be pushing the chip, man. Elder Apostle Zahar, man, he keeps saying, it could be months, months. We down to months, So it says the goal is often maximum efficiency, optimization, and control of systems such as economy, infrastructure, health. It says, think of it as running society like a well-engineered machine, so you're eliminating human error, so to speak, because you're being controlled by the algorithms and AI. So it says how implantable devices fit in. It says implantable devices are technologies placed inside the human body, like microchips, sensors, and neutral interfaces. Examples: medical implants, pacemakers, insulin pumps. They're doing that now. They've been doing that. Brain-computer interface like Neuralink, RFID, NFC chips used for identification or access. So this is not far-fetched, man. We're right here. It says the connection to technocracy. It says in a technocratic system, implantable devices could be used to enhance monitoring, efficiency, and control of individuals and society. So this is not, science fiction. This is reality, man. It says potential applications, health monitoring and optimization. They're going to use this. That's going to be one of the pitches that they use. It'll benefit you health-wise. If something go wrong, if you're sick and, we could just monitor it right then. The chip will tell us exactly what's going on with you and we can fix it right then. Continuous tracking of vital signs, early disease detection, automated treatment adjustment. So, they can just push a button and boom, okay, your liver numbers are off. Let me push this button, type it in, boom, and apply whatever they got to apply while it's in your body. So 2, it says implants could replace IDs, credit cards, or keys used for secure access to buildings, payments, or services. Data collection, real-time data on population health, movement, behavior, helps technocratic leaders make data-driven decisions. Human enhancement. Brain chips could improve memory, communication, or productivity. Aligns with the system focus on maximizing efficiency. So it says the big debate. This is where things get controversial. Supporters say better health care, longer lives, more efficient, less wasteful systems, reduce human error. Like I said earlier, human error, no room for human error or decision making. It says critics worry about loss of privacy, constant monitoring, centralized control over individuals. Ethical concerns about bodily autonomy, potential misuse of governments or corporations. Then it goes on. It says a technocracy prioritize data, control, and optimization, and implantable devices could become tools to connect humans directly into that system, as I just spoke about. All these data centers going up, and you got to understand, all these data centers will be connected. All of them will be connected. So I typed in Trump meeting with tech executives. They had a meeting. Trump got all the tech executives together. What they talked about was probably, how they could, apply these, for the technocracy, man. Matter of fact, let's get scripture before we get, too far in, man. We already far in. It's a lucky for that. So let's go to the book of Micah. Chapter 2. It says, woe to oppressors. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And having a meeting about establishing, a technocracy is practicing evil. because they don't have good intentions. It's all about control. It's all about control of the world, man. The population of the world. Controlling everything, man. It says, verse 2, it says, they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, and even a man and his heritage. So this devil don't even care about his own people, at this point. It's all about, total control, total world domination. Verse 3, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family I do devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. So the Lord is not going to let them go, on with this plan, man. The Lord is gonna stop them in the tracks, man. When they think they've accomplished their mission, the Lord is gonna step in and utterly upset what they got going on. So let's go back to Google, and it says President Trump has held several high-profile meetings with technology executives during his term, which began January 20, 2025. Most notably, a major dinner in September 2025 and planned discussions regarding data center power in early 2026. These data centers are major, man. Major. Like I say, it's so many data centers going up around the world. People not even paying attention really to it. It says September 4th, it says White House dinner. President Trump hosted 33 Silicon Valley leaders at a dinner in the White House state dining room. Attendees included CEOs from Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, Apple, Tim Cook, Google, Sundar Pichai, and OpenAI, Sam Altman. It says this meetings focus on AI dominance, domestic investment, and advanced manufacturing. During the event, executives highlighted massive domestic investments such as a $600 billion from Meta and Apple and $250 billion from Google. So let's see what is data center. It says data is February 2026, a couple months ago. It says data center power pledge. It was reported in February 2026 that the president was scheduled to meet with executives from Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, xAI, Oracle, and OpenAI. It says the objective was to secure a pledge from these companies to supply their own power for data centers to address rising utility bills and electricity consumption. Because these data centers are eating up electricity, man, destroying the environment. These data centers are massive, man. We talking about they taking up acres and acres of land. At least 10 acres. We talking massive, man. So, the scale that this project is on, man, it's above, your thought process, man. We talking worldwide, not just in one area. We talking worldwide. So that should be a red flag to many people, man. Especially the prophets. And that's why we're bringing this to you, man. We're telling you what's coming. Let's see. Let's go back to the scriptures. We're gonna make this quick. Of course, we gotta go to it, man. Book of Revelation, chapter 13. Gotta go to it. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and we'll go straight to verse 16. It says, and he causes all, both small, great, rich, and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, the RFID microchip. And we just read about the Neuralink, That's implanted in your brain. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So, hey man, at this point, if you can't see it, either you're going to take the chip, or you're going to be destroyed. Either way, because that's what's coming, man. That RFID microchip, mark of the beast is coming. Even AI pretty much know that. AI is not spiritual, but that's what we step in. We decipher what's going on and bring it forth, man. So with that being said, we want to constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rikakwadash. Shalom.